Hey guys, Tony with SeattleBoatDetailing.com, and in this episode I am going to be polishing and compounding this 1984 58-foot Angel that's in the water. And even though you can't tell, right here I'm leaning out over the water to get to this portion of the bow hull, and that's why I'm having to one-hand this thing. If I was on a ladder or somewhere where I can get closer without having to lean out over water, I would definitely not be using one hand. And for those of you thinking about trying this at home, don't. So on this side, everything went fine. On the other side, when I wasn't filming, but detailing and polishing the exact same spot, the buffer got kicked by hitting that top edge of the rub rail, and it flew out of my hand. It got about 2.5 to 3 feet down, so about halfway to the water, and luckily I was able to react fast enough to, one, save myself from falling in the water, but two, grab the cord and prevent the buffer from going in the water.
In the industry, we like to call that safety third.
In this case, it was just a split-second reaction. My rule of thumb is, I say, you know what, sacrifice the buffer. Yeah, it's $175, $200, whatever, but it's not worth going in the water after it and potentially getting shocked, or just, hurting yourself. So I was lucky, saved the buffer and myself, but just be sure that you understand this is dangerous work. In addition to the water and falling and dropping tool hazards that exist, the other thing is just being in the funky positions you got to be in to get a boat detailed on the water. For instance, me here laying down on the dock, having the buffer way over my head and just pushing out on the shoulders and everything. A lot of potential for damage to your body. So if you're doing this yourself, my rule of thumb is, if you're not feeling comfortable, as far as physically comfortable, you're probably doing it wrong. There's probably a better way that makes more sense to be able to do it. For me, laying down on the dock, that's what's most comfortable and what allows me to do it all day long. Some people will work from their knees to do this. I think it puts a lot of back strain on you, or for myself anyway. Standing up and bending down is another way, but generally you can't get all the way to the water line with that method.
A little buffer breather. Hey, while I'm thinking about it, I want to give a little shout out to Penny the Business. He's the one who turned me on to Luma Fusion Pro. When I was looking for something to edit my videos, I didn't know what to do, and so I googled iPad Pro on YouTube, and Penny the Business came up, and he has some dope videos on how to use Luma Fusion. And so after just one of his videos, I obviously subscribed because he's putting out really good content. But two, I immediately bought the program, and if you've noticed, my videos have kind of hopefully been getting better. Now, they were pretty crappy in the beginning, and maybe they still are. But anyway, thanks, Henny. half edge action going here. I think I'm still in frame. I think I am. Squiggle, squiggle. Jiggly, jiggly. A lot of times you'll see me put the product right on the boat. In this case, it's such a big slant here. If I do that, it's just going to drip off into the water. So I'm applying it to the pad. Got flagship premium with diamond cut, and I've got McGuire's heavy oxidation remover. So kind of going out this thing. Off to a slow start, and my back's already feeling not a good sign. Fortunately, I'm just going to do the bow and then that other stern hull on the opposite side today, so hopefully my back will make it. See what I mean? Thought this was less of a hard angle, and I can get away with that. Still went a little bit on the floor. That's how I can do it.
We're on day 2 of this, I think it's a 1984 or 86 Angel. I just wanted to do a little comparison video. Here's before polishing. I apologize for the light not cooperating with me, but this is after polishing. Back into before polishing. Extremely flat and dull to the better. Clearly, this is not a new boat, but when you go from that to that, after using heavy duty compound and high speed polisher, it's okay. So I just kept on doing the brow, and as you can see right between our little horn section, that's kind of what it looked like before. Very flat, very dull, no shine. And the oxidation's not 100% out of this, plus there's some funky like lines in this gel coat. I don't know if they hand laid something or what it is, but it's weird. Anyway. Much very shiny compared to zero shiny. It told me about this nice little scratch that he accidentally got in it from the dock, and obviously I would see that and take care of it, but he taped it off for me to just make sure I saw it. And so that'll be part of our videoing today, how to get off these little dock rugs. I'm going to use DeWalt polisher. My trusty McGuire's heavy oxidation remover, which is basically just a real abrasive compound. And we'll pad. So I polished this boat yesterday, and the customer came to turn it for me this morning, and unfortunately some of his fenders that he had tied to the dock are missing. And so when his boat rubbed the dock, instead of hitting his fenders, it hit the dock. So he asked me to come back and polish this out for him as well, which I will now. Key thing here is to use the material and the machine together to do the work. You don't ever want to just be buffing on this dry. At the end I was kind of polishing a little bit extra just to make sure I got all the material buffed away. But you really got to be careful about not overdoing that, because it'll overheat and basically burn the gel coat. And what that'll look like is if it starts turning orange or brown, you're burning it, so definitely stop. So one of the key things here is, you probably noticed this already, but I'll just point it out. I'm focusing on one little section at a time, right? We understand it's a big, long scratch, but deal with the specific area you're trying to work. That's critical. A lot of times with new buffers, I see them, or new people trying to buff, I'll see them almost get a little bit overwhelmed with how big of a job they've got to do. You know, this is a 58-foot boat. If this is my first time detailing it, I'd be freaked out. I'd be going, oh my God, we're gonna be here forever. Well, that's natural. I definitely have felt that in the past. But once you understand, okay, that is the job, break it into smaller pieces. And if you're having an issue with that feeling overwhelmed or things not going well, usually that's really what it comes down to, is do it piece by piece. Focus on the piece you're working, and in this particular circumstance, use the product in that section you've already determined it's going to work for. I'm not trying to get one amount of product down 6 feet. I'm putting a little bit of product here, and I'm working about a foot roughly until that section's done, and then I'm moving to the next foot, to the next foot, and on, so on. So hopefully that helps, and like it's coming out well. There is a little bit of damage to his gel coat. There's some little tiny pits or chips where whatever was rubbed hit hard enough that it kind of gouged the gel coat. It's nothing significant. They're almost like little pinholes, and there's only a few, but it did cause a little bit of damage. Alright, so there you have it. One scratch removed. All gone.